The world vanished into pitch black, suffocating silence. The vampire's helmet wedged on my skull like a block of ancient tombstone, cutting off my breath, isolating me in a tomb of my own making. Through the narrow, darkened slit of the visor, the world was nothing but shadows. Then came the storm. I didn't hear her approach. I didn't see the blow. I only felt the sudden shattering impact against my ribs. A burst of agonizing heat that sent me crashing into the wooden floorboards. The wood splintered beneath my weight before I could even gasp for air. Another strike found my thigh, the kinetic force shifting through the heavy iron armor she had forced upon me. Too slow, little rat, a voice whispered, echoing inside the iron shell of my helm, right before the dark silhouette moved again, and the world dissolved into pure pain. This is Vampire Bone Saga, Chapter 8, Approve of War. You will face a ghoul in 14 days. Company leader's voice did not carry warmth. It carried the chill of the grave. He stood before the assembled ranks, his obsidian armor absorbing the morning sun, drinking the light until he seemed like a walking tear in reality itself. Beside us, Captain Phoenix nodded, his jaw set in a hard, uncompromising line. He gestured toward our squad with a sharp flip of his chin. On command, the vast sea of vampires in the courtyard brought their palms to their chests, striking their armor in unison. Ha! The sound thundered through the courtyard of the Vampire Academy, a deafening crack of military discipline that made the stones beneath my feet vibrate. As the formation dissolved, Phoenix intercepted us. His eye drifted over me, then toward Claudia and Artemis. "You lot better get ready," Phoenix said, his voice dropping to a low, dangerous gravel. "This challenge isn't just a test. It's a filtration system. If that ghoul manages to drink from any of you, he will drain your host's blood, turn you into a feral thrall, and strip you of whatever fragile standing you think you possess. If you survive, you prove your value to the current sponsors. If you fail, you're carrion." What? The words leaped from my throat before I could stop it. Phoenix sneered, stepping closer until I could smell the faint, metallic scent of cold blood in his breath. "We are at war, kid. Things have changed. The era of 'I'm cute, look at my sweet puppy eyes, make me a vampire' is dead and buried. That goes for all of you. Do you understand?" Claudia frowned, her fingers tightening around the hilt of her dagger. "My husband won't like this. Duke Amari is above your host, so whatever funny idea you're thinking, drop it. Nothing will change Duke Amari's mind," Phoenix retorted coldly. He cast one final pitying look at me. "There is no free pass to wealth and comfort anymore. Do not fuck this up." With a swirl of his dark cloak, he left us standing in the dust. "If I were you," Artemis said, shrugging his shoulders as he watched the captain retreat, "I would skip every formal lecture from now until the examination date. Pick fights in the alleys, gain whatever crude experience you can, and pray for the gods we face them as a vanguard team. Otherwise, we're entirely dead." I turned to Claudia, desperation creeping into my voice. "Why can't we train as a team right now?" Claudia didn't even look at me. Her expression was a mask of cold aristocratic indifference. "I'm not here to save your skin, kid. I'm already a vampire. My own trials will require every ounce of my strength. Why should I jeopardize my standing to drag your way across the finish line when I could secure my own victory with ease? In the vanguard, everyone stands alone. Artemis gave a lazy apologetic shrug, and the two of them walked away, leaving me isolated in the middle of the courtyard. I didn't waste time. I ran. My shoes pounded against the dirt paths of the academy, past the grand stone spires, until I reached the secluded, weathered wooden cabin hidden near the edge of the tree line. I burst through the door just as Alice crossed the threshold from the opposite side. "Have you heard?" I gasped, lunging forward before she could even set down her gear. Alice blinked, stepping gracefully to the side to avoid my frantic momentum. My, I never thought you would be quite so ecstatic to see me. Ernesto, what's brought on this sudden passion?" "Alice, I need your help," I said, catching my breath, my hands trembling. "The academy, they're throwing us to the ghouls in 2 weeks. I need you to train me how to kill one." Her playful demeanor vanished, replaced by a sharp, calculating focus. "Ghouls? That's foul play, even for the vanguard. What did your squad say?" "They said everyone is on their own. They won't waste their strength trying to protect me," Alice hummed, tapping a slender finger against her chin as she stepped closer, inspecting me like a prized specimen. "Well, that's remarkably pragmatic of them. If they rid themselves of a liability now, they won't have to carry your corpse when the real war begins." "Alice!" "2 weeks," she mused, ignoring my outburst. "I could send you to the archives to research ghoul physiology, have you draw up a tactical map, but that would be a catastrophic waste of time. As a teacher, I'll be failing you. You will spend 14 days memorizing lore instead of training your muscles to survive." "Then what do we do?" A slow, wicked smile spread across her lips. "We're going to think like a rat." I blinked. "Like a what?" "Rats, kid. Extremely undervalued creatures," she said, her yellow eyes gleaming with a strange fetal light. "They are flexible, highly intelligent, capable of bringing down beasts 10 times their size through sheer malice and cunning. Ghouls are apex predators. Yes, but you're going to become the rat in the floorboards. If you don't learn how to be dirty, you won't last 10 seconds in high vampire society." She pat my cheek roughly. "So, from this moment on, you are my little white rat." "I don't particularly care for that title," I muttered. Whack! The wooden handle of a broom cracked sharply against my forehead. I stumbled back, rubbing the localizing sting. "Did I ask for your opinion?" Alice asked, holding the broom like a short spear. "As I said, you are my rat. If you don't follow my instructions, I will punish you. Understand?" "I thought your name was Alice, not Skinner," I grumbled, wincing. "For you, I am your queen, little Stuart, my white rat," she replied smoothly. Before I could process the words, the broom handle floored. Whack, whack, whack. She struck my shoulders, my shins, and my arms with terrifying precision until I threw my hands up in surrender. "Please, my queen, stop!" I cried out. She lowered the broom, satisfied. "Ghouls are 5 times faster, stronger, and more perceptive than standard vampires. That's why many high-born soldiers choose the path of the ghoul rather than complete vampirism. They trade their humanity for raw, immediate violence. However, if a true vampire discovers their unique quirk fast enough and masters it before military age, they can surpass a ghoul entirely. How did you do it then? I asked, looking at her with a newfound sense of awe. Alice tilted her head, a touch of arrogance entering her gaze. I am a prodigy, Stewart. I don't possess a single elemental affinity. I will three. I can use them to enhance my own physical capabilities or manipulate the biology of my enemies. But you don't have three elements. You barely have a grasp of instinct. But wait, I interjected, trying to understand the stakes. How can a ghoul's bite turn a vampire into another ghoul? I thought once the blood bond was sealed, you stayed a vampire forever. Ghouls are anomalies, Alice explained, her tone darkening. Their venom rewrites the blood logic. If they tear into you, you fall down the evolutionary ladder. You become a mindless thrall, and you lose whatever magical quirk you were developing permanently. My throat felt dry, so if they are faster, stronger, and can smell me coming from a mile away, how am I supposed to win? We capitalize on their hypersensitivity, Alice said, her eyes narrowing, and we rely on your ability to behave like vermin. A rat has exactly one chance to defeat a cat, kid. She must let the cat corner her. She must make the predator believe the victory is absolute, and then, when the cat's guard is completely dropped, the rat executes something so extraordinary vicious, so unexpected, that the cat freezes and the rat escapes. That's the entire plan? I asked, skeptical. Getting cornered? Look at you, she laughed, tapping my forehead again. Gentler this time. You're already thinking like a rat. I still don't like it. Think of it this way. Rats survive. High-born fools die for honor. She turned around, pacing the small cabin. You will have only a few seconds to disorient him, strike his weak point, knock him unconscious, and claim your victory. If the Academy judges try to disqualify you for trying to fight dirty, well, we'll cross that bridge when we're bloody. What do you mean if? I yelled, stepping closer and playfully tapping her shoulder. Are you telling me I'm going to spend 2 weeks training a dirty strategy and we don't even know if the judges will accept it? Alice spun on her heel, her yellow eyes flashing. My, look at you, snapping back, acting on instinct. I didn't see that coming from my little Stuart. Before the sentence even registered in my mind, her hand blurred. A palm stroked the center of my chest, sending a pulse of magical energy through my sternum. Everything went black. When my eyes cracked open, the oil lamps in the cabin were flickering. My head felt like it had been run over by a carriage. What? What happened? I groaned, pushing myself up from the floorboards. You failed for your first test, Alice said, leaning against the kitchen table with her arms crossed. A rat must be hyper-aware of every hidden threat. Come now, Stuart. You're disappointing your master. First Phoenix, now you? I muttered, shaking the cobwebs from my skull. Can you at least give me a warning before? The world went black again. God, my head. I roared when the light finally returned. I was flat on my back, the ceiling spinning above me. You pig! Alice snapped. Her cheeks flushed when I saw the uncharacteristic anger. Did you just compare my tutelage to that fancy high-born lover of yours, Patricia Amati? Come on, stop knocking me out, I protested, rubbing my temples. I'm going to be a concussed mess before the test even starts. The lamps flickering out. Blackness. When I finally managed to drag myself back to consciousness, the cabin felt unstable, the walls tilting violently. We need to build your resilience. Alice's voice drifted down to me. She was standing over me, her expression entirely serious now. You won't get stronger until you learn to withstand hits, absorb kicks, and dodge when your vision is failing. Listen to me carefully. This is not a duel where you're going to showcase a brilliant martial artistry. You will hit the goal once, maybe twice. The rest of the time, you will be fleeing like a gutter rat, waiting for the exact moment to deploy the element of surprise. So I am literally running for my life, I said, pushing myself into a crouch. That's what I have been telling you for the last hour. I saw her weight shift, a subtle drop of her hips. Instinct, raw and primal, screamed in my ear. I didn't think. I threw myself backward, executed a frantic scramble that put 5 full paces of distance between us. Alice paused, her hand hovering in the air. A slow, genuine smile broke across her face. That's a good rat. Little Stuart is finally learning. I'm almost proud. She raised her left hand, tossing a copper coin directly at my feet. My eyes tracked the glint of metal, a distraction. Before I could adjust, she vanished from my line of sight. A fraction of a second later, a brutal kick delivered straight between my legs shattered my gravity. The pain was immediately blinding and absolute. I collapsed onto the floor, curling into a tight ball as the room spun in agonizing colors. You dirty pig, I wheezed, my voice octave higher than normal. Alice stepped over me, her foot planting firmly on the center of my chest. She pressed down, forcing me to look up at her. Her eyes weren't their usual dull amber. They glowed with a fierce, brilliant gold, full of intensity that made the air in the room feel heavy. Locked beneath her feet, the anger drained from me, replaced by a sudden, jarring realization. I had never looked at her this closely before. Her breath came in short gasps. Her legs were strong and perfectly formed, and the fierce curvature of her waist highlighted an athletic grace I had completely ignored under the threat of her broom. I felt heat rush to my face. I blushed. Alice noticed my gaze dropping, her eyes widened, her golden glow sputtering onto a deep crimson flush that spread across her cheek. You absolute degenerate, she yelled, kicking her foot off my chest and sprinting to the far side of the cabin, her back turned to me. I scrambled to my feet, coughing and adjusting my stance, trying to look anywhere but at her. Ghouls, she began, her voice shaking slightly before she forced it back into a rigid, authoritative tone. Have highly evolved eyes, acute olfactory senses, and heightened hearing. We're going to turn those advantages into their execution sentences. She turned around, the flush still lingering on her neck. We're going to construct a primitive blinding flash, a chemical agent designed to overwhelm their sense of smell, and a localized sonic disruptor. Combined, they will overload the creature's nervous system, leaving him completely exposed. Ghouls have reinforced bodies, but their craniums remain vulnerable due to their hypersensitivity of their sensory organs. We go for the head. One clean strike, then we run. Alice rubbed her lips with her fingers, thinking deeply. The problem is protecting you from your own traps. We're going to find the resistance to withstand the flash and sound? I could use earplugs, I suggested, finding my voice. Thick wax plugs and smoked glass goggles, dark enough to block the glare. Maybe a filtered leather mask for the scent. Alice stopped, her eyes softening. She walked over and dropped to her knees in front of me, a patronizing but warm smile on her face. Who's my cute, intelligent little rat? It's you, baby Stuart. She reached up to pat my head, but her heel caught on a loose floorboard. With a sharp gasp, she lost her balance and fell backward. My reflexes, heightened by the hours of abuse, kicked in. I lunged forward, catching her hands before she hit the ground. The sudden momentum pulled us together, and the tension ripped two bottoms straight off the front of her linen blouse. The fabric parted. I froze. Right there, inches from my face, was the soft, pale curve of her chest, completely exposed. I had never been this close to a woman like her, and my eyes locked onto her skin, paralyzed by the sheer proximity. Alice's breath hitched. She looked down at her blouse, then up at my wide, unblinking eyes. Her face turned a violent shade of scarlet. Insolent pig! Her foot connected squarely with my jaw. The cabin disappeared. The metallic tang of blood woke me. When I finally dragged my eyelids open, Alice was sitting across from me on a wooden stool. The flush was gone, replaced by a cold professional detachment. In her lap sat a piece of armor I had never seen before. It was a helmet, pitch black, fashioned from a strange heavy stone that seemed to absorb the ambient light of the room, much like the company leader's armor from that morning. It looked ancient, brutal, and forged a dark purpose. This, Alice said, her voice dropping to a low whisper, is a vampirist hell. A vampirist? I croaked, my jaw aching from her kick. What is that? It's what they used to call the elite vampire executioners back in the Middle Ages, she said, her fingers tracing the jagged contours of the dark stone before the vanguard formalized their ranks. I swallowed hard. Where did you find something like that? A mysterious, dangerous shadow passed over her face. Let's just say I wear a different uniform from time to time, Stuart. This belonged to me lifetimes ago. She rose from the stool, lifting a heavy relic with one hand. Put it on. What are you waiting for? She stepped into my space. I looked up into her eyes, but my gaze instinctively flicked down to her chest out of sheer habit. Her blouse was still torn, the ruined fabric offering a teasing glimpse of her skin. She saw where I was looking. She blushed again, but this time she didn't step back. She didn't strike me. She simply held my gaze, her breath shallow, forcing every ounce of my willpower to the surface. I turned my eyes away from her chest, gripped the heavy stone hell, and slid it over my head. The world vanished into pitch black, suffocating silence. The weight of the stone crushed down on my neck through the narrow, darkened slit of the visor. The cabin was reduced to formless shadows. I could barely discern her silhouette through the treated glass, a faint moving specter in absolute dark. Then the shadow vanished, a sudden kinetic storm of pain erupted across my ribs, and then real training began. Thank you very much for passing by to listen to chapter 8 of Vampire Bonds. If you like the video, please leave me a like and a comment because it's so much work that I have to do to write this and to read this. It's so much work. So a comment and a thumbs up will reward me like you have no idea in the entire world. Have a good night and I will see you later.